When Brexton Busch lost his father in May, he did not just lose a dad. He lost his crew chief. He lost his driving coach. He lost all three in a single moment because they were all the same person, Kyle Busch. 2 months later, this 11-year-old climbed back into a race car, started 14th, drove through the entire field, and won. Then he wrote 3 words that broke the internet: "For my dad." Let us take you inside exactly what happened, because this story is about far more than one checkered flag. It was Friday, July 17th, 2026, at Port City Raceway, a dirt track in Tulsa, Oklahoma. Brexton Busch was entered in the Restrictor Micro Division, a class of sprint car racing built for young drivers between the ages of 9 and 16. These are small, fast, open-wheel machines on loose dirt, and they demand precision, patience, and courage in equal measure. Brexton did not start anywhere near the front. He rolled off in 14th position, buried deep in the field, with more than a dozen cars between him and the lead. Early in the race, a crash unfolded directly in front of him. The caution flag flew, the field was reset, and when the race restarted, Brexton had climbed to 5th place. From there, according to the report from the Charlotte television station covering the event, it was only a matter of time before he took the lead. Lap after lap, he picked cars off one by one, worked the high side of the racetrack, and drove away to win the Micro A main feature event. And that was not his only success that night. Brexton also won the 7th heat race in the non-wing micro class and finished 6th in the feature race for that division. 3 strong results in a single evening at 11 years old against drivers as much as 5 years older than him. But it was the car itself that carried the deepest meaning. Brexton was driving his green number 18 machine, the same number his father made famous during his championship years at Joe Gibbs Racing in the NASCAR Cup Series. And when the race was over, Brexton took the checkered flag in his hands, faced the crowd, and bowed. A deep, theatrical bow. Anyone who has ever watched NASCAR knows exactly what that bow means. It was Kyle Busch's signature victory celebration, performed hundreds of times across 2 decades of racing. On this night, his son performed it for him. Then came the words that hit the racing world like a hammer. The next day, Brexton posted a message on his social media account. There was no public relations polish, no carefully managed statement, just an 11-year-old boy speaking from the heart. He wrote, quote, "My first win since my dad passed. I don't like to talk about it much, but the last 2 months have been really tough. I'm missing my crew chief, my driver coach, my dad, the guy who I looked up to more anyone. I know he would be proud the way I ran the top to win my first micro and main at Port City. We love and miss you so much, Dad." End quote. Read that again. In one sentence, Brexton revealed the full weight of what he lost: his crew chief, his driver coach, his dad. 3 roles, 1 man. And buried inside all that grief, there was still a flash of the Busch family humor. The little joke that he ran the top lane of the racetrack better than his father ever did.
Positive things in the time in which I've been at RCR. In the last 4 years, I've done nothing but work as hard as I possibly.
And somehow, that small moment of playfulness made the message even more emotional. Alongside the video of his victory bow, Brexton added just 3 more words: "For my dad." Hours later, his mother, Samantha Busch, shared her own message on Instagram. She wrote, quote, "First win since losing Kyle. I've never felt so proud and so heartbroken at the same time." End quote. She continued, quote, "Brexton continues to amaze me with his determination, his resilience, the way he keeps showing up to do what he loves, even while carrying so much at such a young age." End quote. And then Samantha described the image that stayed with her as her son celebrated. Quote, "Watching him celebrate, all I could think about was Kyle. There was nothing that made him happier than watching Brex race, spending the day tinkering on his car, and then being the first one sprinting to victory lane with that huge grin on his face." End quote. She closed her post with words that will stay with race fans for a long time. Quote, "Congratulations, buddy. Dad would have been so proud." End quote. To understand why this victory carries so much weight, you have to understand what happened to this family just 2 months earlier. Kyle Busch died suddenly on May 21, 2026, at the age of 41. According to his family, the cause was severe pneumonia that progressed into sepsis, leading to rapid and overwhelming complications. He had been dealing with the illness for a period of days to weeks before his death. The loss stunned the entire motorsports
I feel
world
like things have gone
because
real well.
Kyle Busch was not just
working
another
with
driver.
Richard and Mike Verlander.
He was a two-time NASCAR Cup Series champion. He was the all-time leader in National Series victories with 234 career wins across NASCAR's top 3 divisions. He held the record for the most wins in the history of the Truck Series with 69 victories and 7 championships in that circuit, along with a second-tier series title in 2009. Fans knew him as Rowdy, a fierce, polarizing, brilliant competitor who ruffled feathers and built one of the greatest legacies the sport has ever seen. But at home, Kyle Busch was something else entirely. He was a hands-on racing father in every sense of the word. He was not the kind of parent who wrote checks and watched from a distance. Samantha has described how Kyle spent entire days tinkering on Brexton's race cars himself, coached his son through races, and sprinted to victory lane ahead of everyone else whenever Brexton won. Father and son spent countless hours talking about race cars, working side by side, and dreaming together. Racing was not a dream Kyle chose for his son.
Oh, yeah.
As Samantha put it in an
Check some of
earlier
this out.
post, quote, "It wasn't a dream Kyle chose for him. It was something they shared." End quote. That is why Brexton's message about losing his crew chief, his driver coach, and his dad all at once was
when you start
not an
banging doors on
exaggeration.
one another, that's what it turns the race into, and it's fair game after.
When Kyle Busch passed away, the entire support structure of Brexton's young racing career disappeared overnight. Along with the father he looked up to more than anyone. And yet the family refused to retreat from the sport. Just days after Kyle's passing, the entire Busch family stood on the starting grid at the Coca-Cola 600 at Charlotte Motor Speedway, where NASCAR's chief executive honored Kyle in a pre-race ceremony while the racing world mourned alongside them. By June 10th, less than 3 weeks after losing his father, Brexton was back behind the wheel at Charlotte Motor Speedway in the Cookout Summer Shootout, racing in the Young Lions division. He finished second that night after a last-lap pass by Landon Thrasher driving the bright green number 18 paint scheme his father made famous. Around that same time, Samantha revealed something deeply personal. In the hospital during Kyle's final hours, she made her husband a promise. She wrote, quote, "In the hospital, I made Kyle a promise. I promised him that I would do everything I could to help our children pursue their dreams no matter what." End quote. For Brexton, that dream is racing. And Samantha ended that message with 3 words that have become a rallying cry for the entire Busch family, quote, "So we race on." End quote. Now consider what is waiting for this young man if he continues down this road. One day after Kyle's death, Richard Childress Racing made an extraordinary announcement. The team suspended the use of the number 8.
You don't run the same
car
thing
Kyle drove
at
in
any
his
of those
final
places,
Cup Series seasons,
Everybody's
and
like,
switched
oh, well, you
its
run
entry to the number 33, which driver Austin Hill carried at the Coca-Cola 600. But the team did not simply retire the number. They made a promise. In their official statement, the organization said, quote, "Kyle Busch was instrumental in the design of RCR's stylized 8, and it has become synonymous with Kyle and an important symbol for his fans and the NASCAR industry. No one can carry it forward to the level that he did. The number 8 is reserved and ready for Brexton Busch when he is ready to go NASCAR racing." End quote. Racing historians immediately recognized the parallel. In 2001, after the legendary Dale Earnhardt was killed in the Daytona 500, Richard Childress Racing shelved the iconic number 3. That number did not return to Cup Series competition until 2014, when the team owner's grandson, Austin Dillon, brought it back. Now the same team has parked another famous number, waiting for another son of the sport to grow into it. And Brexton's record suggests he might. He began racing at 5 years old in 2020 at a small dirt track in North Carolina and won his first race just 1 month later. Last year alone, he collected 48 victories, 126 top 10 finishes, and 107 top 5 finishes across multiple styles of race cars, from Legends cars and Bandoleros to micro sprints, late models, and sprint cars. He also captured the Tulsa Shootout Junior Sprint Championship, earning his first career Golden Driller Trophy. Later this month, he will finish his Legends season at Charlotte Motor Speedway. And in August, the historic Bowman Gray Stadium in Winston-Salem, North Carolina, will host the first-ever Kyle Busch Invitational, a night of racing featuring Legends cars and Bandoleros in his father's honor. The racing community's response to Brexton's win was immediate and overwhelming. Former Cup Series champion Kevin Harvick shared the post and wrote, quote, "So happy for @Brexton Busch," end quote. Cup Series driver Ricky Stenhouse Jr. commented, quote, "Congrats, bud. He's proud, no doubt," end quote. One fan called Brexton, quote, "the prince that was promised," end quote. And according to Samantha, several drivers at Port City Raceway personally came over during the weekend to offer Brexton advice, a quiet sign of a racing community stepping in to support a young driver who lost the man who filled every role in his corner. Samantha has been honest that this road is complicated. She has described watching Brexton at the track as, quote, "both heartbreaking and beautiful," end quote, because in his determination and passion she catches glimpses of Kyle. The racetrack has been the family's home for nearly 20 years, and she says it remains one of the few places that still feels like home, the place where they feel closest to him. So when Brexton Busch bowed to that crowd in Tulsa with the checkered flag in his hands, it was more than a celebration. It was a message. Kyle Busch's story is not over. It lives on in the dreams he helped build and in an 11-year-old boy who ran the top lane, much better than him, as the kid would say, all the way to victory lane. What is your favorite Kyle Busch memory? Drop it in the comments below, subscribe so you do not miss our coverage of the first Kyle Busch Invitational at Bowman Gray Stadium this August, and we will see you at the next one.